Good afternoon. Welcome. It is Friday, August 28th. How's it going? My name is Angela. I'm a front-end developer and a software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm running late today. Normally, oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Just as I started to talk, I needed to cough. I'm so sorry. Normally, I have a very specific strategy, which is do not acknowledge the tardiness, just show up and move forward. But today I feel like I have to acknowledge it because my day started out so good and then it just kind of went off the rails this afternoon. But here we are in a good way. It went off the rails in the best possible way, which is that there's new clients coming in, there are new opportunities presenting themselves, lots of things that need my attention. So I am definitely not complaining. I'm just, juggling all of it. So, oh, and Malik Robinson is here. Let's get the chat ready. Let's get the chat ready. Malik Robinson is here. He came to hang out with me yesterday on LinkedIn. Let's put up the LinkedIn banner. If you don't know, I am going live every Thursday on LinkedIn. Let me see here. Sorry, it's so difficult for me to talk and work at the same time. Let me see here, right here. I go live on LinkedIn now every Thursday at noon Central Standard Time. And gosh, I am really enjoying that. It's a lot of fun. I normally get that video, I edit that video and I post it, and I normally have that posted by Friday morning, but I was not feeling well last night, so I took an evening off and I did the editing this morning. The video is actually ready to go. It's edited. It was an hour and 27 minutes. I'm trying to keep it to about an hour, and it's ending up being about 90 minutes or so. But I got that yesterday's presentation edited down to a solid 48 minutes, which I thought was pretty good. And it was a presentation demonstration on search engine optimization for front-end developers. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It's so if you're a front-end developer and you're wondering about I've been calling it organic SEO, but I think it's actually the better name for it is technical search engine optimization. I would recommend it. Well, I recommend all of my content, but I would recommend it if you're interested in learning more about search engine optimization and you want to improve the SEO on your personal websites or your client sites. In my opinion, every front-end developer has a bit of a responsibility to learn some search engine optimization. And I'm not talking about keyword research or things like that. I'm talking about good technical search engine optimization. So there's that. Yeah, and it went really well. I really appreciate that Malik Robinson, our mod in the chat, Go Elmo, was there. He comes to hang out with me pretty much anytime I'm streaming, anywhere I'm streaming. So I really appreciate that. And let me see here. As if Mushtaq, I hope I'm saying that correctly, says, hi. Out of context question. Sorry for this, but how to deal with burnout and demotivation? I mean, first of all, no apology required. We love an out of context question here. Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with this a lot. First of all, it's a normal part of life. So, let me relieve some of the pressure and just tell you right now that it is part of the human condition. It is not unique to you. You are not broken, my friend. You far from it. I learned this is actually apropos of something that I learned this week, a term I learned this week called ordinary misery. Have you heard this term before? I had never heard it before. But let's talk about what ordinary misery is. It's a normal part of the human condition where there's a bit of suffering, there's a bit of discomfort, there's things don't go the way we want them to go. Things are a little tough. We don't always get what we want. We have to work a little harder than we think we should have to work. It's called ordinary misery. And it's a normal, healthy part of life that sometimes we're a little down, sometimes we're a little burnt out, and we're not terribly motivated. Now, let me talk about motivation specifically. Motivation does not materialize out of nothing. Motivation is a result of action. So if you're dealing with demotivation, you need to take action. It might be a little uncomfortable. You might not really feel like doing it. You might be procrastinating a little bit, but motivation is a result of action. Whatever it is that you feel like you need to be motivated to do, so presumably that's it's the front end development channel, so development, you need to take action, even if you're a little bit burnt out. So I don't know exactly what it is that's burning you out. So just for the sake of argument, I'm going to say that whatever work you're doing, your employer is burning you out. Do you have some personal projects that you can work on? Is there anything outside of development that you could do? Maybe that is a better way to think about this. I have hobbies. I have things that I do outside of technology. I love to knit and crochet. I love to paint. I'm crafty as an MFer. I am kind of a crafty lady. So when I'm feeling burnt out and demotivated, I don't like those feelings. I don't like that. I like to be doing things. I like to feel productive. I don't like to sit around feeling like burnout. So I try to put my energy into anything other than the thing that is burning me out. And I have been burnt out by technology and development many, many times throughout my career. So those are the times when I tend to pick up a new hobby and work on something else. Anything to feel like I'm taking action and just in general feel productive, even if it is just a hobby, even if it's not something that directly contributes to my career, even if it's something that isn't earning me money, right? Those are the things that sort of get me feeling good again. So I hope that helps. So what are those things for you? Do you have any hobbies? Do you like to work out? Do you like to cook? Do you like to create content for social media? Do you like to do, I don't know, woodworking? Are you into cars? Like, what are you into? Besides technology, besides being a developer, what else can you take action on to start feeling motivated again about something in your life? It doesn't have to be coding. So, I hope that helps. Does that help? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm playing YouTube psychologist, which makes me a little uncomfortable, but then at the same time, people ask. So you must want to know what I think, right? Madhav says, hello, anyone into AI machine learning? I mean, I guess kind of. I mean, I like AI. We love a good agentic workflow around here. I'm not specifically into machine learning. I understand it. I enjoy learning about it, but I'm not like into it. Does that count? And OX Ninja says, I am on the security side of things. I do bug bounties. Oh, that's interesting. I watch your streams to learn how technologies work, and I have your notifications on. So today was my favorite topic, so I popped in first. I love that. Thank you so much for telling me that. Thanks. And OX Ninja says, thanks, it did help a lot, really a lot. So you must be talking about my my armchair psychology for as if mushtak. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. And Madhav says, okay, great. You guys are the best. Thank you. Oh, wait a second. As if mushtak and OX Ninja, you have the same did you change your username in between prompts or in between questions? Because you have the same profile picture. Okay. It says thanks. It helps a lot. Well, we're gonna do some more Express stuff today. So I am looking forward to doing this. Yeah, that was me. I changed my username. Got it. Okay, I'm a little slow on the uptake. You're gonna have to bear with me. So Okay, so the good news, we got lots of cool things to do today, and I'm glad that I didn't try to stuff this all into our last stream last weekend, that I just decided to do a dedicated day. So first of all, I have a lot of my DevOps content updated. Oh, and I mean, big thanks to Codex for helping me, because you know that I'm a big fan of transcribing my streams right now and then having Codex help me organize that into actual content. So I I built, well, first of all, we need to do an audit. One of the things that Codex sort of pointed out to me when I was building more just like the node deployment instructions, Codex sort of pointed some things out to me that was like, hey, heads up, these are actually some security concerns, some things you might want to take a look at. Um, and basically said, do you want me to just include these things? And I said, yes, please include these things. So it made these instructions in the style of how I like to write instructions. And it included some updated security-minded things that I overlooked and wasn't really aware of. So then I thought, why don't I have Codex do like an audit? So now I have a node audit where we can actually log into the server and do a little audit and maybe correct some of the things that we overlooked last weekend when we did the deployment. So I think this is an important part of just getting started today. So what are these things? Node server audit checklist. Run these checks on the Node.js droplet. Just making sure, confirming the sudo user, checking the application ownership, checking the application permissions, repairing some of the paths. So the .env file, I don't think has the correct ownership. We need to fix that. We want to check the deployed files and make sure some of these things are not in here. So package.json, node modules. Yeah, I will bet you just about anything that I deployed package.json. How much do you want to bet? Expected production files include, wait a second. Oh, I didn't read the whole, gosh darn it, I didn't read the whole thing. Package.json and package lock.json are present. Angela, read the whole sentence, for goodness sakes. Expected production files include all of these things. We want to check both PM2 environments. Check which process owns port 3000. This is another thing that I think was really cool from last weekend. I was kind of not following the instructions when I created a new sudo user instead of using the Node.js user that DigitalOcean gave us. That worked in our benefit because it showed us that different users can have different processes running on different ports. So that was like kind of a happy little thing. And I still think that we should be creating our own sudo users and not using the Node.js user. That's just my personal opinion. That's like a step that I'm used to from doing a LAMP stack. Check the production PM2 process test express. So let's get logged into our server. Do I remember, how do we, I was just thinking, do I remember the IP address? I don't need the IP address. Let's log into the server and do our checks. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Go here. Okay, so our user is Angela. Oh no, it's SSH. Sudo user is Angela at api.practicelayouts.com. Boom. Okay. I'm not super worried about the updates right now. Let's do those last. So let's do our node audit checklist. So confirm you are logged in as the intended deployment user. Confirm the user can run sudo. So we'll do these one at a time. Yep. And then we have groups. Yep. We're in the sudo users group. and then sudo, whoops. Is this not supposed to, so is this not checking the version? What does this do if it doesn't check the version? I'm just curious. I expected something else. Or is it just is it just allowing me to use sudo? Okay. Expected deployment user. I think we've confirmed that. So, okay. Application files should be owned by Angela. Look for files unexpectedly owned by root or Node.js. So let's, so everything, the owner, yeah, and it even says here, repair ownership of if necessary. So the owner and the group are both Angela. I guess we could run this just to see. I think we've confirmed. And this is giving us everything. Or just log out. Yeah, so we can see here everything. Oh, okay, this was probably smart to run this. Okay, I'm good with this. Well, clear. Okay. Check application permissions. One moment. Okay. Check application permissions. Directories should normally be 755. Regular application files should normally be 644. .env should be 600. Nothing containing secrets should be readable by other users. So we'll try this first. I'm gonna have to. I mean, I guess this looks right. Sorry, I'm gonna have to zoom out a tiny bit. I think this looks right. Yeah. And then here's for sudo find the path of anything that's 644. Oh, so this is just discovery. It's showing, I don't know what these are. Just okay. This one says 64. This one says 664. These don't say. This one does. But that's okay because we have our repair right here. Run the .env command after the general file permission command. Do not apply blanket file permissions inside node modules. Installed packages can contain executable files and symlinks with different modes. Oh, okay. So we'll do this first. We'll run the repair in this order. Okay. Everything, yeah. And we'll zoom back out here in a second. So I just want to look at this again and make sure I see, I guess 600, right? Yep, right there, 600. Good. Okay, nice. Make this a little bigger. Okay. Check deployed files. Well, we'll look at this again. So we've got our index.js, package.json, package lock. We have node modules. We've got our middleware, routes, services, and our .env. So I think that all looks good. Check both PM2 environments. This was the biggest deployment specific issue. Check PM2 under Angela. Check PM2 under DigitalOcean's node user. Confirm the old hello demo process is gone, which I think technically we did last week. Confirm the production app is managed only once. Okay, so PM2 list. Yeah, we did do this last week. So it doesn't say. Okay, so that's for, this must be implied that this is for me, my user, because this is for the Node.js user. Yeah, okay. So I think we've confirmed that. Under Angela, expect something like Express Server Online. All right, good, beautiful. Under Node.js, the process list should be empty if you are no longer using that account. If hello still exists, it does not, so we don't need to do these. Okay. All right. Well, this is going faster than I thought it would. Check which process owns port 3000. Exactly one intended node process should listen on port 3000. The DigitalOcean demo process should not own the port. The application should not be repeatedly fighting for the port. Okay. If the result is unclear, I don't think it is. Hang on, I have to zoom out a tiny bit so I can see better on one line. I think this is the result that we wanted, right? Listen, 0. Wait a second. It should have told us, I wish it had told me what the result should have been. Well, technically the result is unclear because I don't know what I'm looking at. So let's just do it. There we go. Okay. User Angela, port 3000, listen. So I think that that's right. I'm going to take a screenshot of this and maybe we'll ask later. Okay, check the production PM2 process. The status should be online. We already did that. The restart count should not keep increasing. Logs should not show EADDR in use, missing environment variables, or repeated crashes. So we know PM2 list is okay. PM2 describe express server. Okay, there's some stuff here. This is kind of cool. Okay. I mean, I guess this all looks fine, right? PM2 logs express server lines 100. Does that mean just get the first 100 lines? I mean, I don't know. Is this old? I have no idea. This could all be old, and then this could be from when we fixed it. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot. Shouldn't we keep web server on port 80? It's on port 443 because we installed SSL, an SSL certificate, so it's got HTTPS. So port 80 is HTTP and 443 is HTTPS, right? I think that's what that means. Okay. Quit. How do you quit? Oh, Control C. So I took screenshots of those because I have no idea the logs if what we're looking at is okay. Yeah, but it's on 3000. Oh, port 3000. Yeah, it's supposed to be on 3000. Yeah, so you think that port 3000 is not okay? I think 3000's okay. Tell me why you think it should not be on 3000. Everything so far has been port 3000. So I thought that was, should we just ask? Should we just start asking some questions? I think we should. Hang on. I want to, first of all, let's ask. And then second of all, let's check these screenshots. So I'm going to give it I'm going to have it, I'm going to add our node audit. No, wait a second. Where's our express? Our DevOps. Where's DevOps? Right here. And then let's add a couple of images, our screenshots. Okay. I'm on step 6 of the node audit process, and I have some screenshots. I'm not sure if I'm getting the expected results. That's the master. And Ethio Football is here. Says, "Hey, how are you? I am new here. What are you trying to do?" We are working on an Express server, and we're doing a little cleanup from a Node app that we deployed last weekend. So, okay. And this says, yes, step 6 looks correct. Your screenshots show exactly what that check is supposed to establish. Your audit says step 6 is checking that exactly one intended node process owns port 3000, that the old DigitalOcean demo does not own it, and that processes aren't fighting over the port. From your screenshot, node PID 2728 and user Angela TCP port 3000 listen. So we know there is one listener on 3000. It's a Node process. It's running as Angela. There's no second Node.js DigitalOcean demo process competing for the port. No EAD DR in use situation is visible here. So I would mark step 6 complete. About those PM2 logs, the other screenshots are technically moving you into step 7, which specifically asks you to check PM2 status, restart count, and logs for repeated crashes. This part is worth investigating, but it doesn't prove there's currently a restart loop. PM2 logs lines 100 is showing historical, what does this mean? STD out, standard output, standard out. So this could simply be accumulated startup messages from all the times you've restarted, redeployed the app. The next thing I'd run is exactly PM2 list, which we already did, but we'll just run it again. Look specifically at the restart count. Oh, host metrics, CPU, RAM usage. I don't see a restart count. Restart count that is not actively there. So there is no restart count. Oh. I don't know. This is so complicated. I mean, it's good. I like it. Okay. The core's errors are a separate issue. This error not allowed by cores at origin, the middleware cores, does not look like a node PM2 failure. It looks like your own core's middleware is doing what you told it to do, rejecting a request whose origin isn't on your allow list. That's good. In fact, the useful part of that stack trace is this. That's your application deliberately throwing the error. So unless legitimate requests from one of your approved sites are getting rejected, I wouldn't treat those errors as an audit failure. We can test your core's behavior separately after we establish the server process configuration is healthy. That's good, and that's part of our agenda today. We're going to do that. So let's do this again. Okay, I ran these about a minute apart, give or take. Okay, that's the result we wanted. The key thing is the restart count stayed at 74 across both checks about a minute apart while the app remained online. So for step 7, Express server is online, restart count is not increasing, CPU memory looked normal, there's no evidence of an active crash or restart loop. Your audit specifically says to run PM2 list twice a few minutes apart when you suspect a restart loop. You've done that. You've now done that and it's stable. The 74 itself is not necessarily alarming. PM2 keeps a cumulative restart count, so that can include all of your previous deploys, manual restarts, debugging, configuration changes, etc. What mattered here was whether it went 74, 75, 76. While we watched it, it didn't. So step 7 is a pass. I'd still run the other step 7 command once. We already did that, mostly just to verify the script path, uptime, and process details. But the thing we are concerned about, an active restart loop, is not happening. Okay, we already did this. We'll do it again just for the heck of it. I think this all looks normal, right? Okay. Let's get back to it. So 6 and 7 are done. So we did this last time too. We did this curl and we just printed right to the terminal. Test node without Nginx, DNS, or HTTPS. Confirm the expected API endpoint returns the production data. So we'll do this again. This worked last weekend, so I expect it to work again. And it does. We're good to go. Check PM2 reboot persistence. Confirm the PM2 startup service exists for Angela. Confirm the production process list has been saved. Make sure persistence was not configured only for Node.js. Okay, confirm, wait a second. Unit PM2 Angela service could not be found. Hang on. Let's get back to here. Ruh-roh. So this is the first actual audit failure we've found, but it's very fixable. Your step 9 says PM2 Angela should exist as the system startup service for your pseudo user Angela PM2 environment. Right now it doesn't. That means your app is running fine right now, but the PM2 is not yet configured to automatically resurrect it after a server boot. So let's run PM2 startup. PM2 should print a command that starts with something like this. Copy and paste the exact command PM2 gives you. All right. And I will make sure after the stream that all of this gets updated and included in the documentation. Okay. All right. And then it says, copy and paste the exact command PM2 gives you, then run PM2 save. Whoopsies. Okay, successfully saved. And then after that, we verify. And it says here, loaded, active. At that point, we want to see the service loaded, active, and then step 9 should pass. So no disaster, your running server is healthy. We just discovered reboot persistence was never set up for the Angela account. This is exactly the kind of thing this audit is meant to catch. All right, well, I'll definitely make sure that this gets updated today. So, okay. So we're good on check 9. How many more do we have left to go? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, we're almost there. Check the Nginx server block. Well, I'm glad that we're doing this audit. This is good. This is really good. Okay, server name should be API practicelayouts.com. Proxy pass should point to 127 blah 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 port 3000. Remove the one-click demo host name such as hello node. Remove unused demo static file configuration. Confirm proxy headers are present. Okay. Okay. Expected values. Server name, api.practicelayouts.com. Proxy pass is localhost 3000. Okay, so I'm going to take a picture of this again because it's slightly different. And this is what? This is step 10. Okay, result of step 10. Step 10 looks good. Your audit expects two key things here. And that's exactly what your output shows. You also searched for root and hello, and neither shows up in the active config output, which is what we wanted. That strongly suggests the old DigitalOcean demo static config is no longer active. The duplicate server name api.practicelayouts.com entries at lines 228 and 263 are normal if one is the HTTP server block and the other is the HTTPS server block, which I think they are. And this at the top is another pass. Nginx configuration file. Test is successful. So step 10 passes. So you've also effectively satisfied the syntax portion of step 11 already. The only thing left there is the system CTL status Nginx. Okay. So I'm going to do this. Yep. Okay. We'll do this. And I remember seeing this last week as well. Do not reload Nginx if the test fails. I don't think it failed. It says it's active and it's running. Okay. Confirm port 3000 is not public. Uncomplicated firewall, UFW, should allow 2280 and 443. UFW should not expose port 3000. Okay. I think this is right. If any unnecessary port 3000 rule exists, inspect its numbered rule before removing it. I don't think it does. Check the certificate. The certificate should include api.practicelayouts.com. Certbot's renewal test should pass. Nginx should reference the correct certificate. So it found the certificate, it found the referral, the serial number, the private key path. It simulated the renewal of an existing certificate and gave us that congratulations message. And it printed out what we already saw earlier. So, okay, I think that all looks good. We're almost there. Okay. So we just tested this, but we'll test it again. We'll test all of these. So we're testing express directly. Yes. Nginx over public HTTP. So I think, is this going to redirect to HTTPS? That's what I would expect. Yes. 301. And I think, is this going to print? Or is this just going to give us a status 200? Status 200. Okay. So confirm that localhost returns the API response. HTTP redirects to HTTPS. HTTPS returns the API response. Hang on. There is no redirect loop. The response comes from your app, not DigitalOcean's demo. The highest priority checks are the two separate PM2 environments, ownership of port 3000, PM2 reboot persistence, .env permissions, the Nginx server name and proxy pass, and the full HTTP to HTTPS request path. So I think this is such a good exercise. So I'll get this, I'll get the documentation updated, and it goes without saying that future deployment days, future DevOps days will be a little more thorough with some of these things. So I did one of these for the LAMP audit also. I just want to take a peek and see how complicated it is. So far it looks pretty. Yeah, this is a little less complicated, the LAMP audit, but we're definitely going to dive into this too in future DevOps streams. Okay, so that was the first thing on the agenda. I'm feeling pretty good about what we got going on the server here. So let's log out. We're done. We're done. Let's pull up Postman. I mean, what else do we need to do today? Um, if I am being, well, okay, so what else did I say that we were going to do today? I was so focused on this. What is this? I think this is a different project. Let me pull up our Express project because I think we have a to-do list because my mind right now is currently blank. Just completely blank. So what else is new? Okay. Express server. Yes, we have a to-do list. Heidi looks so majestic. That's her spot. So right now, it's so adorable. This is the ottoman. I bought my dog an ottoman sitting in front of the window. She lays on it lengthwise. So she's either sitting like this with her little paws up on the sill looking outside, or she's laying lengthwise on the ottoman napping. And that's what she's doing right now. It's so stinking cute. I can hardly stand it. It's like the perfect Heidi size ottoman. It's just her little spot. Okay, so here's our to-do list. Okay. Okay, set up cache. So we need to set up caching in the Express app. Create the GitHub action to deploy. Test the cores. I think I actually made a checklist for the GitHub action also. I'll just be honest, it's like the thing I'm least excited about. I know that I need to do it. I'll be happy when I have it. It's just the thing that I'm the least excited about. Test the core's allow list. After that, the remaining deployment housekeeping is mostly PM2 persistence. So we did this. And this is done. Do. Done. Okay. So I think the order of operations is caching. And clearly it's the GitHub action because we need an easy way to deploy. So let's get the caching part figured out. And I'll be honest, I'm happy to let Codex help us with that. So let's get Codex up and running here. Which one of these? Has Codex not helped us? I think have we been doing everything on this project with ChatGPT? All right, well, first of all, how are we doing on usage? I have no idea. Oh, we're doing fine. Boy, I've been using Codex a lot. A lot. So let's set up a new project, local project. This is our Express server. Create project. This a little bigger. Boy, OpenAI, you guys need to work on your UI. You need to work on your UI. Just saying. You have issues. Aren't you a billion-dollar company? Why aren't you fully styling and testing your UI? I'm just okay. Where are we? Okay, so let's ask for help writing a good prompt. Okay, great. Is that big enough? I think that's big enough. Great. Everything passed. Next on my to-do list is to ask Codex to, and actually, let's do this. Let's commit our work. Okay, that was the only thing. Got it. Updating to do. Whoops. Git commit message. Updating to do. So here's the URL for our Express server. Next on my to-do list is to ask Codex to help with a caching solution. So because we don't want to hit Instagram. I post really infrequently. I haven't posted since May on my Instagram feed. So we want, where are we here? We're on routes. We want some caching here. So we're not hitting the Instagram with our API token and like just wasting resources every single time there's a page load or an API request. I would be perfectly fine with 24-hour caching. Maybe ChatGPT or Codex will recommend every hour. We could do every 12 hours, I think is fine. I haven't posted since May, so we don't need to do, at first it was like every 15 minutes. We don't need to do that. So we're not hitting the API every time there's a page load, which is really when we would be hitting it, is anytime on page load, right? I'm actually comfy with 12 hours. I haven't posted since May. I do feel motivated to post more often. I feel motivated to post more often. But still, 12 hours is plenty. Let's see what they say. Okay, 12 hours is totally reasonable for this use case, especially since the feed isn't changing constantly. I checked the repo structure. Right now, both endpoints call get Instagram media, and that service does a fresh fetch against the API every single time. For this app, I'd have Codex implement a simple in-memory TTL cache in the service layer, not Redis, not a database, not anything fancy, something like first request fetch Instagram API, save response in memory with a timestamp, subsequent requests within 12 hours, return a cache response, after 12 hours, fetch fresh data and replace cache. Beautiful. I think that is an excellent idea. If Instagram fails during refresh, but stale cache exists, optionally return stale cache instead of failing the page. That's also excellent. That last part is worth adding. Your Instagram feed is decorative, content enhancing. There's almost no reason for your site to break because Meta has a temporary hiccup. So let's give this to Codex. Review this Express repo and implement a simple caching strategy for the Instagram API. Current behavior, goal, avoid hitting the Instagram API in every website page load. Requirements, add an in-memory cache in the Instagram service layer. Cache the Instagram API response for 12 hours. Get Instagram media should do these things. Blah, blah, blah. Before making changes, explain the proposed implementation and identify which files you plan to modify. Hands down, the most important step of any prompt is that they don't make changes. They explain what they're going to do first, and then we approve the changes. I especially like putting it in services Instagram. Your routes shouldn't need to know caching even exists. They just ask for Instagram media and the service decides whether that means memory or meta. One consideration, because this is an in-memory cache, a PM2 restart or droplet reboot empties it. That's completely fine here. The first request afterward just repopulates it. I would not add persistence merely to avoid one Instagram request after a restart. And at a 12-hour TTL, even if the website got slammed with traffic, you're basically reducing meta calls to roughly 2 successful refreshes per day per running node process. That's a dramatic improvement over 1 API call per page load. All right. You don't have to convince me. Sounds good. Let's see what the verdict is here. Oops. And we'll do the action next. I don't know what it is about GitHub Actions. I love them. I love them. They make me tired thinking about making them, though. So, implemented the Instagram in-memory cache. Wait, didn't it say to wait? Did we not include this last line here? I said to explain the implementation before making the change. WTF. You're right. I should have explained the proposal and paused for your approval before editing. I've never had Codex do this before. I treated before making any changes as sequencing within the same run. So we need to, okay, note to self, we have to start putting at the top of the prompt, do not make any changes to code. I think that that's the key. I treated before making changes as sequencing within the same run, which wasn't the interaction you expected. That was my mistake. The proposal should have been modify only services, add a module. Okay, well, you did the thing anyways, so let's just check and see. Honestly, this looks pretty good. Okay, well, it's fine. So how do we test this? I think we can test this. How do we test this? It's okay. How do I test this? Please explain the steps. You can test it manually by temporarily shortening the cache TTL and watching the server logs. Is there an, okay. So we have to open up a terminal again. Why do I feel put out by this? But I guess this makes sense. Okay. Wait, but it's not on the server. Oh, we have to run this locally. Hang on. Duh. Stick with me, people. We're not actually logging into the server, so let's go ahead and start this. Oh, I didn't make the change yet, though, did I? So this is, we changed this to, what do I change? Change this. Okay, so this is every 10 seconds. Okay, I'll start. And then we'll do this in the terminal. I need to get back to the correct directory. In another terminal request, the Instagram media, the expected server log. How do I see the server log? Oh, right here. Okay, so we can do this again, I bet. There we go. So we should see it a third time, right? Yep. Okay. That works for me. Immediately repeat the request. Instagram cache hit. Okay, we're on every 12 hours now, so I would expect to see this now, right? So I switched it to this. Shouldn't we see Instagram cache hit? Still says refreshing Instagram cache. Do we need to stop and restart? So it said refreshing the cache. There we go. Instagram cache hit. So you have to stop and restart. So let's do it again. I just want to see it say that it's hitting the cache. Beautiful. Instagram cache hit. Good. Good, good, good. This confirms that Instagram wasn't called again. Test that both routes share the cache. So here's our custom endpoint. And there we go. Instagram cache hit. And another Instagram cache hit. Good. The response should still be the first 12 image items with no API shape changes. Wait more than 10 seconds and request again. Okay, so I already switched it to 12 hours. I'm getting what I'm expecting. So this confirms expiration and refresh. Test stale cache fallback. Make one successful request. So actually, let's open Postman. It's going to be better than this, right? Rather than this flattened list. That's not what I wanted. So here's we want the local. How do I open up this panel again? There we go. There's localhost. There's localhost. Okay. So here's our custom endpoint. It's hitting the cache. Why aren't you listening to me? Oh, stop. Ah. UI, work with me. Right here, custom endpoint. Can I really... Oops, did you just fall off the... Are you okay? Did you just... Hang on, Heidi just rolled off the ottoman. Hey, come here. Are you okay? Hold, please. Oh, good grief. Okay, we're okay. Heidi was laying on the ottoman and she just rolled right off and hit the ground. So It happens sometimes. Okay. She's fine. So here's our response. I'm going to send again. And we're hitting the cache. Good. So here's the original. Look at the UI. What is going on? What is with these? Does nobody zoom in on a UI anymore? Is that why they're not checking to make sure? Look at. I don't understand. Why even allow it to zoom in that far if you're not going to make sure the UI is actually working? I don't get it. Okay. So here's the original. Yeah. And we're hitting that cache every time. Okay, good. Okay, so now we need to deploy, which means that we have to do our GitHub action, and that's the thing that exhausts me the most, but that's fine because we do need to do it. Okay. So where's our instructions for that? We'll tuck this away. We'll tuck this away. Here is our DevOps, and I do have a GitHub Actions for Node. Look how long this is. I can't be the only one that looks at something like this and is just like instantly exhausted. So here's how the deployment workflow works. Local integrations branch. I don't have integrations created yet. We're on main, so we're gonna have to create a new branch. And honestly, let's just get everything caught up so we're in a good spot. Caching for IG API response. Here's codex. Let's get back to here. So the deployment workflow that I like is that I work locally on a branch called integrations. You can call it anything, staging, dev, whatever. I call it integrations. Then we have an integrations branch on GitHub, and this is where all of the development testing is done. I don't technically have a dev server set up for this. Normally, I build static websites and I deploy them to GitHub pages because it's just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. For this, I probably would set something up on Heroku is my first thought. Because I don't think I can deploy a Node app to GitHub pages, right? Pretty sure about that. So I will probably, that honestly wouldn't be a bad thing for us to do at some point, right? I'm not going to do it today. Mental notes. Set up dev environment on Heroku. I think that that's actually a good plan. So we'll put that on our to-do list. But for now, any Git push to integrations will go to GitHub. Then I do a pull request on GitHub, and a push created by merge will trigger the GitHub action, and that will deploy it to DigitalOcean. And then we have to have npm omit dev reload PM2 local health check. Okay, a pull request does not trigger this production workflow. So the pull request itself doesn't trigger the workflow. Merging the pull request creates a push to main, and that push triggers the deployment. That's the workflow that's what we did at St. Thomas, and it worked really well, and I think it's a good front-end workflow. So that's how I'm going to set it up. So prerequisites, an existing DigitalOcean Node.js droplet. We've got that. So I'm guessing we're going to have to log back into that. Node.js, npm, nginx, PM2 installed on the droplet. Yes. Node application already working. Non-root. Okay, we're already doing all this. Yes. Complete and audit the server setup first. We did that. Choose the process owner. So I think, yeah, we have to do a user named deploy. PM2 keeps a separate process list for every Linux user. The user that runs the production PM2 process must remain consistent across manual and automated deployments. This guide uses a dedicated non-sudo user named deploy to own the application files, receive files through SSH, install application dependencies, run the production PM2 process, save the PM2 process list. The workflow does not receive sudo access and cannot modify nginx, UFW, users, or other system config. If the app currently runs under another user, such as Angela, migrate it deliberately. Do not leave the same app running in two separate PM2 environments. Okay, so that means that it has to be, so everything that we just did to test to make sure it's working under Angela, we have to actually migrate it to a different user. Okay, so SSH into the droplet as the existing user. Okay, so come on, am I the only one that feels just want to complain? I just feel whiny. This is exhausting. I love it. I love it. It's also makes me tired. I cannot be the only one. Come on. Okay. So we have to log in first as the sudo user. I'm gonna be so happy when it's done. I know that. So that's what I have to keep telling myself. And we still need to do, there's updates, so we should still do those updates today, but I don't know if they're really critical. Okay, so sudo add user deploy. Do not add deploy to the sudo group. I have to give it a password, don't I? Oh, hang on. Something happened. We got kicked out. So adding user deploy. We need a new password. So hang on. I'm gonna come out. I have one here. Okay. So this is actually, let me make sure I have this labeled correctly in my notes. Okay. Make it the owner of the application directory. So let's just copy this whole thing. All right. If the application does not use .env, skip the last command. It does. Do not apply blanket permissions inside node modules. We didn't. Okay. First, inspect every relevant PM2 environment. Stop the existing production process under its old user. For example, if it currently runs under Angela. Which it does. So PM2 delete express server, PM2 save. Also remove the DigitalOcean demo process if it remains. It doesn't. Do not continue until port 3000 is free. No output means nothing is listening on the port. Okay, so we're going to do this first. It's kind of sad that we just went to all the trouble to get it, to make sure things were working correctly, and now we're deleting it. Okay. Okay, so nothing is running. I don't think we need to do this. I guess we can do it just for the hexes. Okay, yep, nothing's running. Do not continue until port 3000 is free. Yeah, looks like it's free. No output means nothing is listening. Okay. Add a PM2 ecosystem file. Create ecosystem.config.cjs in the node project and commit it to Git. Okay, so we would actually do this here. Ecosystem.config.cjs. Ecosystem.config.cjs. And commit it to Git. Okay. Adding config for GitHub action. Okay, so that's been committed and added. The .cjs extension lets PM2 load the common JS configuration even when the application uses type module. Adapt these values for another node app. Do not put API keys, tokens, passwords, or other secrets in this committed file. Okay, I don't think we did. I wasn't supposed to like do this here on the server. It said to put it in the project and commit it to Git, right? Okay, so I'm gonna ask about this because I'm not sure. So what was that? This is step add the ecosystem file. Next, I'm working, oh, you can't see me. Next, I'm working on the GitHub action and the ecosystem file. I added it to the project and committed it. I did not create the file on the server. Let me add. This is the Node GitHub Actions. And then let me add the screenshot. Where are we? This right here. Okay. All right. Okay, that's exactly the right state to be in at this point. You've now deliberately stopped the old PM2 managed app, and this confirms port 3000 is free. This line return nothing. That matches the guide's migration step. Stop the old process, confirm the demo process is gone, and do not continue until port 3000 is free. Okay, what is this? Get rid of this. Okay. And yes, you did not need to manually create ecosystem.config on the server. You created it in the project and committed it, which is exactly what the guide says to do. I checked the committed file and it has the expected process name, entry point, production, CWD. What does CWD stand for? And node environment, working directory. The important distinction is that the ecosystem file will arrive on the server as part of the deployment. Right now, because you haven't run the new GitHub action yet, the path on the server may still contain the previous deployment and therefore, yeah, no, it doesn't have it yet. Also, the warnings you got are expected. One thing I'd be careful about, your uploaded guide is no longer using Angela as the production PM2 owner. It deliberately migrates the app to a dedicated, okay, yeah. And the GitHub action is supposed to SSH, yeah, I know, okay. So from here, I would follow the guide in that order. So we're okay, we're just good where we're supposed to be. So from here, I would follow the guide in order rather than starting the app again as Angela. I wasn't going to. I'm just asking if we're doing the right thing so far. The next major milestone is getting the app running under deploy with this. But that requires ecosystem.config.cjs to actually exist in the directory first. Since you specifically chose not to create it manually, you have two clean options. Let your first GitHub action deployment copy it there and start reload PM2, or update the committed project, or update this directory from the committed project before doing the manual deploy user test. Wait a second. I know what this says. This doesn't make sense. Can't I just nano and make the file? Update var www HTML from the committed project before doing the manual deploy user test. Given the guide says to confirm the app works under the deploy PM2 environment before the first production action, I do number 2. So your current state is good. Old process removed, demo absent, port 3000 free, ecosystem file committed. We just need to be intentional about how that committed file gets onto the server before the next PM2 start. Can't I just create it create it myself. I'm logged into the server now. Why can't I just create it myself? Yeah, let's do this. So Nano is the terminal text editor. Do we have to, I think we have to sudo. Yeah, it's not writable. So we have to sudo, hang on. There we go. Then paste this. And then we Control X, yes, enter. So now we have that file on the server. Then make sure the deployment user owns it. Yep, it does. After that, continue with the guide under deploy. Right here. Install dependencies and start the app as deploy. So can we just run all of these at once? Makes me a little nervous. Okay. Did any of these things? I expected to see some output here. What am I? Okay. So it's one at a time. Oh, install dependencies and start the app as deploy. Oh, I'm already logged in as deploy. Oh my gosh, Angela. Okay. It already switched us over. Can I go back? No, I can't scroll backwards. Okay, bear with me, people. Okay, we are already logged in as deploy. So from there, you are just skip that command and go directly to this. Okay, let's go back here. So let's get into our directory. NPM. Okay. All right. PM2 save. Okay. And here is where we, so the takeaway from that is no, we should not try to do all of these at once. Here's our feed. Okay, and then we're done. So I'm just going to clear. Okay, I'm not going to exit. Replace the health check path. Oh, no, we do want to exit because we want to go back to Angela, right? Yeah. So I think we want, don't we want to, okay, why did it want me to exit if there's more stuff to do? Okay. Why did it say to exit? Now I'm logged out. Do I need to log back in as my sudo user? Sudo user, then deploy. Yes. The exit in the guide is only there because that section assumes you started as the sudo enabled admin user, then temporarily switched into deploy. So exit means leave the deploy shell and go back to the admin shell. Since you had actually SSH'd in directly as deploy, exit, but I didn't. Okay. I actually didn't SSH in as deploy. So I don't know why that didn't get me back, but I don't think it matters. Okay, so let's just go back in here. Right, it doesn't really matter now. Okay, so now we're back as ourselves. Okay. From there it continues, so we need to take over again as deploy. Sudo user for Angela. There we are. Okay, replace the health check path with a stable endpoint provided by the application. A dedicated endpoint such as health is preferable to one that calls an external API. What? Configure PM2 to restore this user's process list after a reboot. PM2 prints a command beginning with sudo env. Run that exact command from the administrative account, then save the deployment user's process list again. Okay, so we run this. I'm not, what do you want me to do here? What am I supposed to be doing? Okay. Hang on. We're going to figure it out. I feel like our instructions are not, need some updating. I'm not sure what's happening, or what to do next. I think my guide is incomplete. Yes, the guide needs a clearer shell context transition here. Your screenshot makes the problem obvious. You did this correctly. Now your prompt says that we are logged in as the deploy user. At that point, you are already deployed, so this command from the guide is no longer appropriate. It tries to make the non-sudo deploy account invoke sudo, which is why you get this. The guide says to configure PM2 with sudo IU deploy PM2 startup, but it doesn't make sufficiently clear that that form is meant to be run from the Angela shell, not after you've already switched into deploy. From exactly where you are now, your prompt currently says this. First, make sure your process is there. Okay. ChatGPT to the rescue. Okay, so this looks promising. Assuming Express server is online, it is. Run PM2 startup, no sudo. Okay, this looks good. This looks good. Oh, and it says PM2 should print a long command beginning with something like this. Don't run that command yet because deploy can't sudo. Instead, exit. Now you should actually return back to Angela, then paste the exact sudo command it just gave you. Okay, so let's copy this to the clipboard. Command C. But first we exit. Now we're back at Angela. Now we paste. Okay, this looks good. I remember this. Yes, okay. After that, sudo deploy PM2 save. Okay. And then sudo systemctl status PM2 deploy. Okay, this looks right. We want PM2 deploy to show as loaded active. Yeah, I think so. Loaded and active right here. Okay. So the intended sequence should really be documented more like this. That would have prevented exactly what just happened. Your underlying user config is correct. Okay. So here's what's great about all of this. It's all captured in the video. It will all be captured in the live stream. I will transcribe this live stream after I'm done streaming. And I will give this transcript to Codex and have it update the file. So, and then I will commit the deploy instructions to GitHub, and I will have ChatGPT check the deployment repo based on this conversation and confirm that it's correct. I got this. I got this. Okay. Where are we next here? What's the next thing we got to do? Okay, we got a ways to go. Okay, we have like 15 minutes yet left. I'm gonna keep going. Are you with me? I'm gonna keep going. Okay. So create a key specifically for this deployment on your local computer. So I'm gonna do this. Let's see here. I need a new terminal. I'm going to do this out of view. Stop. What's going on here? Okay. I'm gonna do this in a different window for obvious reasons. So. Leave the passphrase empty because the rsync action cannot enter one interactively. Okay. The command creates a public key and a private key. Use a dedicated deployment key, not an administrator key. So we do still need this because we have to add the key to the server. So I'll leave this open, but I think we're almost done with the server. Authorize the public key. So on the droplet, we're going to sudo again as the deploy user. Okay, and now we're deploy. Then we're going to make the directory .ssh. You guys, we're so close. We're so close. And then we're gonna modify the permissions. This is the read, write, execute. And then we're going to nano into we're basically going to create an authorized key an authorized keys file in the SSH directory with nano. Paste the complete contents. Okay, so here's where I'm going to do this. Paste the complete contents of Express Server Deploy pub. So let me pull that up. I'm sure you can understand why I'm not going to show that. Express Server Deploy pub. There we go. Save. Okay. Hang on. I'm almost done. Okay. So I did that, pasted the public key. Do not paste the private key. And then we changed the permissions for this file. Whoops. And then we exit, which should take me back to sudo user Angela. And then we make the owner of that file the deploy owner and group. Okay. Test the deployment account from your local computer. So I'm going to open up a new tab and SSH and yes, that SSH key works. Test file access dependencies PM2 and the local application. So we're going to test making a plain text file. And we still have our sudo user tab open just in case. So let's make sure that we can. So there's our deploy test. Now let's remove that file. So this is making sure that deploy has permissions to actually make and create files. Yep, that worked. Got it. And we've already CD'd into that directory. So we're going to check which version of npm we have. Okay. And we're going to PM2 list. Yep, it's online. And then we're going to check our endpoint. Beautiful. This all works. You guys, we did it. Well, this is complicated. Holy cow. This was complicated. And exhausting, but it was worth it. Okay. Okay. So all of this works. Keep production secrets. Keep the production.env file on the droplet. Yeah. So here's our .env. This is 600. And we've got the group and the owner and the group are both deploy. The workflow must exclude .env, so it neither uploads a local, and it does. So .env is on our git ignore list. So I think we're good there. I didn't actually, did I just click that? I don't think I did. I didn't open .env, did I? I don't think I did. Maybe should I swap out that token when I'm done today just to be on the safe side? I don't think I did. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. I think we're fine. Okay, are we good? I think I am checking to see if I can log out of the server. I think I can. Codex, I'm talking to you. When I transcribe this live stream and give it to you to update, please make changes to the instructions on when I can log in and when I can log out. Please, I'm begging you. Okay, I think we're okay. I don't think we need to be logged in here anymore. Okay, so here's what we do need to do. We need to make sure, let's get these two side by side. So here's our repo where we're actually creating the GitHub action. And then here's our instructions right here. So create the GitHub Actions secrets. Navigate to the repository. We need to go to Settings, Secrets and Variables, Actions, New Repository Secret. Okay. And we need a DigitalOcean SSH private key, complete private deployment key. So pardon me for one moment while I do that. Let's switch screens. So here's our private key. I'm going to log out a little bit. And what else do we need here? So we need host. And it's going to be, we'll use api.practicelayouts.com. We need the user, which is deploy. Oops. And we need the target directory, which is this. All right. Do not put secret values directly in the workflow file. For additional isolation, store production secrets in a GitHub production environment and restrict which branches can deploy to it. Feature availability depends on repository visibility and GitHub plan. Okay. Create the workflow. So I'm assuming that we need to create this locally. Where else would we create it? Am I supposed to create it here? I don't want to. I think I need to create it locally. So .github workflows deploy production YAML. .github workflows deploy production.yml. Deploy production.yml. Okay. And then it gave us a production workflow. This workflow verifies the dependency lock file on the GitHub runner, deploys the application files, installs production dependencies on the droplet, reloads PM2, saves the process list, and runs a local health check. Name, deploy node app to DigitalOcean. On push branches main, permissions, contents read. Okay, I probably don't need to read the whole thing. Runs on Ubuntu latest, steps, checks out the repository, set up Node.js, uses actions, verify dependency, run tests when available, deploy and reload the application. Here's all of our top secret stuff. All right, well, let's go for it. We came this far, right? Boy, when I was in school, we had to make these YAML files for I had a DevOps class when I was in school, and it was all AWS, and we had to do these from scratch. Oh my God, it was so complex. There's people who do this for a living. You guys, there's people who do this for a living. Wild. Absolutely wild to me. I could not. Deployment is DevOps and deployment, it's so important. I clearly believe that it's important. I've made it an important part of this channel. I could never do it exclusively as a job. It does get a little mind-numbing sometimes, as important as I think it is. This is Codex, so where are we here? Okay, back here. Okay. Change these project-specific values for another Node app. Yep, I think we're good. Yep, and it has our endpoint here. And it's also checking to make sure. It also included specific things about the file. Okay. Change these project-specific values for another Node app. So the Node major version, target and working directory, PM2 ecosystem file name, exclusion list, build or migration commands, health check URL. The GitHub runner's node version should match the production server's supported major version. Confirm the server version with. All right, so I think that means we have to log back into the server. Hang on, we can do that quickly. So I think our GitHub Actions said version 22. Oh, really? You can't just check what version? There we go. Yeah, I think I knew we were on 24. The current Express server project has no test script. Okay, wait a second. So Codex, it's Node. Oh, I didn't put the 2 dashes. Whoops, never mind. The GitHub runner's node version should match the production server's supported major version. Confirm the server version with. So I'm going to change this to 24. That's okay, right? The current Express server project has no test script, so npm test if present exists successfully without running tests, exits successfully without running tests, add meaningful automated tests when the project has them, what the workflow does, review the source and exclusions, do not copy the exclusion list blindly, confirm that each excluded path is unnecessary in production. The server should generate node modules using the committed lock file. Production secrets should already exist on the droplet. For a TypeScript or compiled application, build the GitHub runner and deploy only the reviewed build output plus the production package files. Adapt source, the install step and okay, decide whether to delete remote files. This workflow does not enable rsyncs delete option. Without it, files removed from Git can remain on the server. Adding delete makes production mirror the deployment source, but it can remove valid server files if the source or exclusions are wrong. The production.env must remain protected by an exclusion. Okay, that's fair. I'll leave it out for now. Test the equivalent rsync command manually with dry run before enabling deletion. Review rsync for the safe preview workflow. I'm going to leave it. Optional, verify the server host key. The SSH deploy action documents a default that disables strict host key checking. For hardened deployment, store a previously verified known host entry in a protected DigitalOcean known host secrets. Add this step before deployment. Verify this. Okay. I don't know how important this step is. Then add this input to the reviewed action version. Verify the host key through an existing trusted administrator connection or the DigitalOcean console. SSH key scan discovers a key but does not prove the server's identity by itself. I don't know how important this is. Optional. Verify the server host key. So again, I'm including it in the video and in the transcript and codex. When you actually read this transcript, let me know if this is something that we need to do to like some sort of audit or check, or instead of just making things optional, tell me if it's really something that I should do. That's what I would prefer. Just tell me if it's something that I should do. I don't know if I should do this. First deployment. Confirm the app works under the deploy users PM2 environment. We did that. Did we? Well, we logged in. Confirm PM2 deploy starts after reboot. Okay, so we just need to deploy something to see if it works. We've already done all of these things and we know that this stuff works because we already did this on the server. So we'll leave this open in case we need it. I think that we need to What do we want to do? I think we need to create an integrations branch and deploy that. And then do a pull request, right? So we only have one branch, main. So we'll do git branch integrations, git checkout integrations, git status. We are on integrations. So from now on, all of the work we do should be on the integrations branch. Anything we deploy should be a pull request on GitHub. So git commit adding GitHub action for deployment. I don't know if this is the right step, the right order of operations, but we're going to find out. So I'm going to do git push origin integrations. And then I suppose we'll know if things worked if we can actually see our endpoint in Postman, right? Or maybe we can just check in the terminal. Okay. So here's integrations. So we'll compare and do a pull request. So creating the pull request does not trigger the deployment. It's actually doing the merge. So we'll merge the pull request, confirm the merge. Okay. Oh, so we should be able to see, hang on. We should be able to see, where is that again? Yeah. It'll tell us if it was successful, right? If all of the steps worked. And I think we can actually, it'll update automatically, right? How long does it take? So it always took like about 3 minutes when I would do this at St. Thomas. When anytime I deployed and did a pull request and merged the integrations branch with production, that was a Node app. It always took about 3 minutes to run and deploy. Ooh. Okay. So Node.js 20 has deprecated the following. Okay. So the server is version 24. We checked it. Hang on, we can fix this. Okay. Our friend GitHub, or our friend ChatGPT is going to tell us what to do. Let's take a screenshot. Okay. Okay. We're so close. Let's take a screenshot of this as well. The server is node v24. That's what I added to the GitHub action, but I'm getting this error. Okay. Please. Okay, I was just checking on Heidi. She's on solid ground, quietly lying next to me. Okay. Yes, and this is the key thing is that node 20 message is not the reason the workflow failed. I checked your current workflow. You correctly changed the project node version to 24. So your runner is being told to use node 24 for your app, which matches the server. The warning in GitHub is about something different. The implementation runtime of actions checkout at v4 and actions setup node at v4 themselves. Those v4 actions target node 20 internally. GitHub is forcing them to run on node 24 because node 20 support is being retired. That's why it says that these things, it is not, so it's not complaining about 24. There is a clean update available now. Okay. Both current v5 actions explicitly use node 24 internally. So I would make that update, but I would not expect that alone to fix the red workflow run. The screenshot is only showing an annotation warning. The actual failure is somewhere inside the deploy job. Click the red deploy job on the left, and we'll want to see which step has the red X. My guess is we're now down to one of these. Verify dependencies, SSH rsync connection, permissions writing. I hope it's not permissions because we logged in and checked that. npm ci omit dev remotely, PM2 command under deploy, final health check curl. And yes, we're very close. Okay, so what did it say to do? Okay, whoops. Hang on. Deploy and reload the application. So what was the thing specifically? I mean, it's things like this that make me wonder how any of us made it this far in our careers. How did I make it 13 years? I've been managing servers for a decade. Now, I don't have loads of experience setting up node servers, but I've been managing servers for a decade. How did I do anything before ChatGPT? I'm honestly wondering. Okay, now we have the actual failure and it's a much nicer problem. The deploy itself is working. Your log shows that it's successful. Then immediately afterward, failed to connect. Your current workflow starts and reloads PM2 and then hits the health check on the very next command with no wait at all. And look at the PM2 row in your screenshot, uptime equals 0. The health check is simply beating Express to port 300. I would fix the health check, not add an arbitrary sleep. Make curl retry connection refusals for a short window. That gives Express up to roughly 20 seconds to become available while still failing the deployment if the server genuinely never comes up. So your script after becomes this. And this tells us quite a lot. Okay, so we have two things to fix. First, we need to fix this. So let's do this first, which is right here. Name uses with oh, I think I was supposed to. Hang on. This is the clean update available now. So name, checkout repository, and name setup Node.js. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then this is the script after. Why does prettier, why doesn't prettier want to format this? I don't know. All right. And this tells us quite a lot. The GitHub Actions successfully connected over SSH, rsynced your files, ran the remote script, installed dependencies, found your ecosystem file, started the Express server under PM2, saved the PM2 process list. It only failed because the verification request happened too fast. One thing I noticed in the actual repo, main still has actions checkout, your okay. So I think we just have to commit this and do another pull request. And yeah. And Malik is reminding me about the 2 hour mark. Sorry, Malik. I missed that. We're gonna keep going. We're just about done. We're almost done. But we're gonna keep going. But thank you also for reminding me about that. Git status. We're on integrations. Git add. Git commit. Okay. Updating YAML file. Git push origin integrations. Okay. Okay. So now let's go back to, oops. Let's go back to pull requests. We're going to do new pull request. And the base is main, and we're going to compare integrations. able to merge. So we'll create our pull request, no merge conflicts. Oops. Updating our YAML file. Why are you being so weird and scrolly? Okay. We're going to create our pull request. And we're going to merge. Okay. Now we're going to go to Actions. Okay, what? They all failed. Why did they all fail? I have an error. Hang on. That's probably why it didn't want to format. I had an error. It's happening on line 19. What's the error? Oh, I think this is not indented. No, I don't think that's it. Okay, and Prettier just kicked into gear. So I think that was just a formatting issue. Why didn't Prettier just make sure the whole thing was okay? I don't know. Okay, so that's fine. So we're going to git commit fixing the YAML formatting. And then we will git push origin integrations. Okay. All right. It's going to tell us right away if it failed. Well, it would send me an email because it sent me an email right away before if it failed. So I think we're good because it would have failed right away. So let's do another pull request. And we're going to compare the base main to integrations. We are able to merge. We must have had other formatting issues here. So, okay. Create the pull request, fixing the YAML formatting, create the pull request, merge the pull request, confirm merge. Okay. And then let's go to actions. Say a little prayer. Say a little prayer. What do we think? Hold, please. Okay. Feel pretty good about this. While we're waiting, would you be so kind as to, first of all, if you're new here, welcome. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe if you're new here. I'm here every Saturday and Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. I often drop in during the week like I am right now. This is pretty, for the most part, a vanilla channel, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, the three things the browser does natively. We mostly build things with vanilla. I've been streaming on YouTube for 2 years, and I've been saying since the day I started that I should set up an Express server where I can have an Instagram endpoint for the stuff I post on Instagram. Not that I even post all that much, but a lot of the landing pages and static sites that I build, they have like a little Instagram feed. And I've for 2 years just been putting in static images. And I thought, you know what? I would really like to have an actual Instagram feed. So that's what we did here. And it turned into sort of this 3 days of building an Express server, making a custom endpoint, and now, of course, the deployment to a URL, api.practicelayouts.com. So it's exhausting. Oh, wait, it failed again? It's exhausting, but I love it. Ugh, but it failed again. Okay, let's see what's going on here. We've come too far. I think it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing. I think it needs more time to load, but I don't know. I think though that our YAML file is fine. Does it need more time to load? No. The important change is the error, the requested URL returned error 500. That means Express is listening on port 3000 now. The request is reaching your app, but Instagram Images itself is returning HTTP 500. So the retry fix worked. We've moved one layer deeper. Your Instagram service now makes the graph API request on the first request after PM2 starts. But because the in-memory cache is initially empty, if that upstream call fails and there's no cache yet, it throws, which produces the 500. And your app does load .env through this. So in principle, the token should be available from this path. Next, check the PM2 error log. SSH into the server as deploy and run this. I expect that it will tell us exactly why Instagram is returning an error, something like Instagram error 400 or 401. Okay, well, I think that we are logged in. Okay, so we're actually going to, I'll log out of this and start a new terminal. We're so close. SSH deploy at API dot practicelayouts.com. I didn't delete the key yet. Did I spell it wrong? No. Why aren't you letting me? Hang on. I didn't delete the key. It worked last time, right? Okay, how about... Okay. Where's that thing where you log in as deploy? I don't remember. Here. So I don't know why I wasn't able to log in separately as the deploy user. I should have been able to. So I'm going to tell that to ChatGPT. Okay. I'm logged in to the server as the deploy user, but I was not able to SSH directly. I had to log in as Angela and switch to deploy. It worked before. That's fine for you manually debugging on the server. Logging in as Angela and then doing this is a perfectly valid way to get into the deploy account. But there's one important distinction. GitHub Actions must be able to SSH directly as deploy because your workflow uses this. Yeah, I know. And the whole design, yeah, I know the whole design assumes that. Oh, yes, that's why. Okay. Hang on. Let's just do a new terminal. Okay. Oops. Oops. That worked. I SSH'd in directly. Thanks. Okay. Okay. So now we can rule out SSH access entirely. From your direct deploy session, run this. Oh, it's exhausting. And then this. And this. Was that supposed to return something? I don't know. Okay. This command returned nothing. Yeah. It's there. That means one of two things. .env does not contain the access token, or the variable is named differently. Hang on. Okay. Hold please while I check. So let me I'm going to check the server. Yeah, it's there. Instagram access token. And your repo intentionally does not contain .env. It is ignored in Git. Okay. But it's there. It's there, but it's there. Okay, too many instructions. Okay, too many instructions. Too many instructions. The file is there and it is named correctly and has the token. What next? Good. The don't touch the .env file. Next, from the deploy shell, run just this. Then test this. So did Instagram hang on. I think Instagram throttled us. No. They're from my own. I throttled myself. The rate limiting policy is from my own rate limiter, which allows 100 requests per 15 minutes. You still have 88 remaining. The important part is this. So the next thing is just one command immediately after that failed request. Your service logs throws the actual Instagram API status before the route converts it into the generic 500. That should tell us whether Meta is returning. Show me that output and we'll go from here. Didn't I already show that? Hang on. So this log is showing an older error module not found, not the error from the Instagram request we just made. We know Express is running now because your curl reached the route and got your route's custom 500 response. That response comes directly from the catch block in routes Instagram.js. Let's force a fresh error and read only the newest lines. Run these two commands. So let's do this. Here's what I think we should do. I want to keep going, but I also need to take a break because Heidi needs to go out and I just want to get like a drink of water, but I want to keep going. I don't want to stop. So, but I also want to say hello to Andrew, the coder in Wisconsin, Andrew Irwin. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Hello and welcome. And Dave Best is here also saying, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing really well. I'm tired and cranky. Oh, and I think Monique Robinson is also here too. Monique is a mod on the channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We're going to keep going. Don't go anywhere. Let's take, should we just take like a 10-minute break? Let's take a 10-minute break. What is it? Egg timer. Egg timer, a simple countdown timer. Enter a time. 10 minutes, right there. Let's see here. I know I have a picture of, can't I think I have a picture? I thought I had a picture here of Heidi that I could put up, but I don't remember where it is. I think it's right here. Okay, back in 10. And of course, I switched to a completely different screen. So there's that. Okay. So let's get back to it. We're almost done. Let's see here what the next step is. Okay. So this says this log is showing an older error, not the error from the Instagram request we just made. We know, okay, so I mean, it says here this server is running. So it says here, let's force a fresh error and read only the newest lines. Run these two commands. This. Okay. Let's see what he says. Okay. The fresh request still did not add anything new to the PM2 error log, so let's bypass Express PM2 and call the Instagram service directly. So from the project root, just run this. That will exercise the exact service code directly and should expose the actual upstream error without dumping your token or all the Instagram data. Show me that result. So hang on, I'm going to do this off stream just to be on the safe side because I don't know what it's going to show. Okay, it didn't show anything bad. So okay, so the Instagram service itself works. So the token, network access, and meta API are all fine. The failure is somewhere in the express route path. Run just this. Oh, you know what? Okay. Okay, wait a second. Okay, before I run that, is it because the merge failed and something is like half deployed or incomplete on the main branch? Should I do a fresh deploy with FileZilla first? I would not do a FileZilla deploy. Your pull request itself merged successfully into main. The thing that failed was the post-merge deployment workflow, not the merge. Okay. And the deployment logs already showed rsync sending files to the server before the health check failed. So you're not dealing with a half-merged main branch. You're dealing with a deployment that copied the source, started PM2, then failed validation. Okay, since the direct service test just proved the current server copy of services Instagram.js can call Instagram successfully, I'd keep debugging the deployed state rather than introducing a second deployment path with FileZilla. So no fresh deploy. Run Instagram curl we were about to run. That's the cleanest next diagnostic. So, and Silence Pro is here, says, hello teacher, can I ask you, where can I learn how to build websites knowing that I've finished learning a MERN stack? Where can I learn how to build a website? Well, you can learn here because that's what we do here. But honestly, if you finished learning how to build a MERN stack, don't you have what you need to build a website? I think you need to open up VS Code and get started. Just get started building something, right? I feel like that's the next step. That's what I would like you to do. Okay, so we're still... So we're still getting this error. Clayton is here and says, hello, I really enjoy the channel. Well, thank you, Clayton. Happy to have you. This is probably a good time to kindly ask people to like the video, subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you. I'll be here all weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We are going to, once we finish this GitHub action and we finish this little express detour that we took, we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled program of building a landing page with vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We already did all of the markup, all of the HTML. We started on the CSS, and that's what we're going to continue with this weekend. Liking and subscribing is an awesome way to support the channel because it gets this pushed out to more people who are interested in this type of content, and it helps the channel grow. And I would be oh so appreciative if you were to do that. So, okay. Let's see here. We're so close to finishing this GitHub action. I can't quit now. So, that result is useful. Both endpoints return 500, so the filtering code is not the problem. The failure is happening when the PM2 managed express process calls get Instagram media. Your direct node test of that exact service succeeds. So Meta, the token file, and the service code itself are good. My strongest suspicion now is that PM2 has an old Instagram access token value. Why would it have an old value saved in its process environment? .env does not overwrite an environment variable unless that already exists by default. That would explain why a fresh node process reads the correct env while the PM2 process fails. Run just this next. It will not print the token. Tell me which of those two messages you get. Don't change anything yet. I saved the token. So if I need to just like manually replace the token, I can. But why would it have changed? We didn't change it. We haven't done anything with that. So why would it have changed? I don't know. Okay. PM2 does not have Instagram access token set. Okay, like I get it, but I don't get it. So let's see. Silence Pro says, is really coding for now ended or no after appearance of AI assistance? No, it is not. We still need people who understand the code now more than ever, because it's not just about prompting for code. You have to understand what you're pushing to production. You still have to be able to review your code, test your code, understand what's happening. So it's not ended. The job has changed, and you have to know how to do both. You have to understand requirements and AI prompting. You also have to understand the output. So I think it's absolutely still important. And until something changes, I don't know what would possibly change that the people who are deploying the code don't need to understand it. You do. You still need to understand it. So, okay. So that actually points us somewhere useful. PM2 does not have the token injected into its environment, which is fine if .env config is loading .env in this path. Since the direct node test worked from the root of our project, but the PM2 process did not, I want to verify PM2's actual working directory. Run just this. We want exec cwb. What's C stands for? WD isn't WD working directory. That's what it is. That part is correct too. So PM2 is starting the right file from the right directory. That rules out the working directory theory. At this point, I want to answer one very specific question. Does the whole Express app work when Node starts it directly outside PM2? Okay, so run this from the root. Leave that running. In a second SSH terminal window, run this. Okay, so I think do we have two windows open? We do. So we'll run this first. Server running. And then in a second window, run this. Okay, that worked. If port 3001 returns 200, then we've isolated the problem to PM2 because the same app, same .env, same files, and same user work correctly without PM2. Don't change anything else yet. Show me the curl result from port 301. Yeah, it worked. Oh, but it did print out some extra stuff here. I think it worked. Clayton says, we'll let this do its thing. Let's hang out with the chat for a minute. So Clayton says, to me, AI has only boosted the need for humans. The corporate world was not ready for what should have been apparent from the beginning. You will always need humans in the process. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. A couple of things are happening, and listen, I feel like I am knuckles deep in this because I'm out here on my own looking for work. I am both applying to jobs and actively looking for freelance and consulting work. I'm doing everything, right? After a year and a half of just creating content and doing freelancing. And it's not the same, it's not how it used to be. But I think a couple things are happening. I think that the market is correcting itself after COVID, and I think AI happened at the same time. So, like, let's not forget what happened in 2021, 2022, 2023, where you could throw a rock, and if you had completed a 6 week React boot camp, you could get a six-figure job as a developer. Those days are over. Um, I don't think those days are over. And all you have to do is go to LinkedIn and look at all of the really talented developers with the latest tech stack crashing out on LinkedIn because they can't find a job. And my heart goes out to them. I do, I empathize. Um, so the market is correcting itself. Corporate America is correcting itself after the big COVID hiring boom, the great resignation. Now we also have AI, and corporate America was not ready for that either. But parts of corporate America thought that they were. So they started doing mass layoffs and implementing AI when they really weren't quite ready for it yet. So a couple things are happening. The job is definitely changing. But if you've done any kind of prompt engineering, anything at all, you know that requirements are more important than ever. You know that as a developer, you cannot let AI make those decisions. You have to do the requirements gathering. You have to understand what the goal of your app or project is. You know who your users are. You know what the mission of the organization is. You know what your leadership team does or doesn't want. Those are only things that a person knows how to do. So it's not just about spitting out code. It's about a human to oversee the process and make sure the right thing um, gets deployed to prod, right? So it's a good comment, good questions. I love it. Okay, let's go back to this. So yes, that worked. So the application itself is healthy when Node runs it directly. That isolates the problem to the PM2 managed process, not Express, not .env, Instagram, or your code. Given the PM2 process has accumulated hundreds of restarts, I'd recreate that process cleanly instead of continuing to poke at it. So first, in the terminal, running port 3001, do Control C. So right here, Control C. Then from our project root as deploy, we're going to run these. So PM2 delete express user. Start PM2, our ecosystem config. Okay. And then PM2 save. PM2 save. Saving current process list. So let's take a picture of this to prove we did it. Then test port 3000. We want the same thing. No. It's not working. Port, is there something wrong with the port? I don't know. Okay. We found an actual configuration issue in that screenshot. Environment production is not defined in the process file. Your ecosystem file defines env, but the command uses env production. PM2 expects env underscore production block for that flag. That needs fixing. Okay, well, who gave me that code snippet? Well, who did give me that code snippet? Was it Codex in the original instructions? I think it was. That needs fixing. But before changing anything, I want to verify whether the running PM2 child actually loaded the Instagram token from .env. Run just this. This checks the actual node process, not PM2's saved metadata, and it won't print the token. Show me which message you get. Yeah, it says it doesn't have the token. That's useful, but I need to correct one thing from my last step. This does not reliably show variables that .env adds after node starts. It primarily reflects the environment inherited when the process was launched. So does not have token does not prove .env failed. Okay, so let's get a completely clean PM2 error log. Run only these 3 commands. Okay. 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 So flush clears the old error noise, then curl will generate exactly 1 fresh failure. And the third command should show the actual error being thrown by this route's console error. Also, the environment production is not defined warning is real and we need to fix the ecosystem file. But I don't want to change 2 things at once. Your current ecosystem file has env, not env production. So this is mismatched. For now, just show me the output from those 3 commands. Boy, we're putting ChatGPT through its paces today, huh? It's all right. We're pretty close. Interesting. The empty file means we may be looking at the wrong PM2 log path after recreating the process. Run just this. That will tell us exactly where the current process is writing standard out, standard error. Is that what that means? Show me that output and we'll read the correct error log next. So I'll say this, ChatGPT never gets annoyed, and that is the great thing about troubleshooting with ChatGPT because it will never quit, it will never stop, it doesn't get annoyed, it doesn't get tired, it doesn't want to take a break, it doesn't need a glass of water or a glass of wine, it just keeps trudging along. So for that, I am grateful. Okay, the log paths are correct. Since the error log stayed empty, check the standard out. I don't, is STD mean standard? I don't know. Like, okay, so we want to check this next. Yeah, I don't see it. Your service logs, your service logs that before it calls Instagram. If it's missing, that tells us something important about what the PM2 process is actually executing. Okay, that output is the clue I was looking for. Your current committed service must log either refreshing Instagram cache or Instagram cache hit whenever get Instagram media runs. But the PM2 standard out shows only repeated server running over and over. So I don't think the curl request is reaching the PM2 process we think it is, or that process is restarting repeatedly. Run just these two commands. I want to compare. I want to compare the PM2 restart count right now. The PID PM2 is managing, the PID actually listening on port 3000. This may finally explain the weird mismatch. So Silence Pro in the chat is saying, I don't really catch up of what you're trying to do. You're saying, what are you doing? That's an excellent question. Listen, I don't know what we're doing either. We're fixing an error that we have on our Node server. And I too am a bit lost. I'm following the in troubleshooting oh my gosh, Angela. I am following the troubleshooting instructions from ChatGPT because it knows what the heck is going on and I do not. So if you're lost, we're both lost. And listen, sometimes this is development in a nutshell, right? That you do what you can to try to troubleshoot things. In the old days, we were Googling. We weren't getting this much help from we didn't have an AI assistant to help us troubleshoot. We had to Google, we had to read blogs, we had to read Stack Overflow, and we had to try all sorts of things that we had no idea whether or not they were actually going to work. So this is actually a nice little treat for me. But okay, here's the real problem. The restart count is already at 179 after we recreated the process at 0. So PM2 is absolutely in a restart loop. That also explains the wall of server running messages. Each one is another fresh process start. The listener on port 3000 is there, but the process owning it keeps getting replaced. That's why everything has looked inconsistent. Run just this next. PM2's own log should tell us why it keeps restarting. The exit code, the signal, the restart reason, etc. Show me that output. Don't change anything else yet. Okay. So There it is. The app is not crashing. PM2 is receiving a SIG int every 3 seconds and then restarting the app. That explains basically everything that we've seen. A normal application error would give us a non-zero exit or a stack trace. SIG int means something is telling PM2 to stop and reload that process. The first thing I want to rule out is PM2 file watching. Run just this. Is there something that we did here that is causing it to do it? I mean, is there something here that is causing this to happen? I'm just going to ask. Before I continue, this happened after I changed the YAML file. Is something we did in the GitHub action causing this? One moment, please. Okay. So I think the GitHub action triggered or exposed the problem, but the YAML itself is probably not repeatedly killing PM2. I checked the current workflow. It runs this exactly once during a deployment. Then it runs curl retries. Nothing there sends sig int every 3 seconds. What we just saw is much more specific. That looks like something outside the app is repeatedly stopping PM2 or the process. Given that we recently configured PM2 reboot persistence for the new deploy user, my next suspect is actually the PM2 deploy systemd service. So yes, good catch stopping here. I would not merge or rerun the GitHub action yet. For your current server session, run only systemctl status PM2-deploy no pager. Show me that. If systemd is itself restarting every few seconds, I think we'll finally have the source of the loop. Okay. Let's clear this. I'm not sure what this means. Good. Oh, good. This rules out PM2 deploy as the thing repeatedly sending the sig int. It's enabled but currently inactive or dead, so systemd is not cycling the process every 3 seconds. That makes the next check the one we were about to do. PM2 describe express server and look for these flags. I'm specifically looking for whether PM2 has watching enabled or some restart related setting that doesn't match your committed ecosystem file. Your ecosystem file itself does not enable watch. Show me that output and we'll keep this one step at a time. That looks aggressive. Restarts 320. uptime 2 seconds? Seems suspicious to me. Okay, watching is off. Yeah. So that theory is dead, but the important part is still this. And PM2's own log showed each process being deliberately stopped with int. So something external is repeatedly issuing a PM2 stop, reload, restart command. Given that this started while we were wiring deployment, I'd now check whether another deployment related process or PM2 daemon is still hanging around. One command next. So that should show us every PM2 deployment related process currently alive on the droplet. Don't restart anything yet. Show me that output. Is it the Node.js? Okay. That output is useful. The 3 PM2 God daemon processes are from the 3 Linux users we've dealt with. That alone is not the restart loop. They are separate PM2 environments. The thing I want to check next is whether the deploy process has a cron restart or another automatic restart rule attached to it. The very regular 3-second int pattern looks more like PM2 is being instructed to recycle the process than the app crashing. Just run this. Good. That output shows no cron restart, memory restart, or restart delay rule configured. So PM2 itself isn't obviously configured to recycle the app on a schedule. At this point, I want to check whether something on the server is repeatedly executing a PM2 command. Run just this. You're currently logged in as deploy, so this one will require the Angela sudo account. Either exit back to Angela or open another SSH session as Angela, then run it. So here, I think we can just say exit. Okay. Okay. So the search did not find a cron job. What it did reveal is important though. Both Deploy and Angela have saved PM2 dump files containing Express server. That does not prove both are currently running it, but it's the next thing I check because two PM2 environments fighting over the same app or port would fit the weird behavior we're seeing. Run these 3 commands as Angela. So we'll do the list first. Oh, I think that this is running as me. Yeah. But I thought we took care of all of that. Yeah, they're both running. Okay, so I think we know why it's which is why it worked on port 3001, right? I think this is our answer. I thought we disabled this. Maybe I was mistakenly logged in as me. Was I mistakenly logged in as me? Yes. This is absolutely wrong, and I think we found the core configuration problem. Right now, both users are managing Express Server. We explicitly wanted the migration to leave the production app managed only by deploy. Your deployment guide says not to leave the same app running in 2 separate PM2 environments. And yes, I think somewhere during all the shell switching, we got the Angela PM2 process running again. That would also explain why troubleshooting has been so bizarre. Sometimes we're inspecting deploy while another PM2 environment is simultaneously managing the same app. So let's fix only that first. You are currently Angela, so run this. Delete Express Server. I really feel like we did this though. I really feel like we did that. Okay. PM2 save force. Save this as proof. Then run PM2 list. And we want to start it, or we want to sudo for the deploy PM2 list because that should be running, right? We want Angela empty and deploy Express Server online, which I think we have now. We're so close. Almost. Okay, but I don't want to declare victory quite yet because the deploy restart count went from 431 to 470 between your screenshots. That may simply have happened while we were cleaning up Angela, but we need to confirm it has stopped. From your current Angela shell, run just this. Okay. It still says 470, so I think that's good. Sleep 10. And then run it again. Okay, so now I think we can declare victory. Now I think we can declare victory. Yes. The restart count stayed at 470 across the repeated checks, and Express server remained online. That means the restart loop stopped once the duplicate Angela PM2 process was removed. So the root cause was exactly what your guide warned about. The app was being managed in two separate PM2 environments at once. The migration was supposed to leave production owned only by deploy. So current good state, Angela and Node.js, the PM2 list empty, deploy is running, restart count stable, only deploy should own production. There are still two cleanup items before I'd rerun the GitHub action. Fix the ecosystem warning. Your file defines, okay, so should I do this here, or should I do, should I fix the config file on the server or just here? I think I can just do it here, right? Your file defines env, but the workflow calls okay, what am I changing? What am I changing? Do I make a local change and deploy, or change the config on the server? Make the change locally, committed on integrations, then let the normal, okay, we're changing this. Okay, so somebody gave me that code. I didn't make this up. Production. Did I spell it right? Production. Okay. Your current integration branch still has env, and we're on integrations. You can't see it. My big head is covering it up, but we are on integrations. So wait a second. Your current integration branch still has env, which is why PM2 warned that production was not defined. That matches this workflow command. So the sequence is okay. Okay. Let's commit and we'll see what happens. We're coming up on 4 hours. We're going to figure it out eventually. So git status, we're on integrations. Git add, git commit, updating config name, git push origin integrations. Okay. Go to our pull requests, and we will compare. We are able to merge. So we'll create a pull request. If something happens and this fails, we will have a conversation about next steps because we're coming up on 4 hours. And I'm not saying that troubleshooting doesn't take a long time or doesn't take several hours. Obviously it does. We all know that. We'll just decide how we want to proceed. Maybe, well, let's just see what happens. I feel like this is taking kind of a long time. Let's see what happens. Okay. Yes, please merge. Okay, let's see what happens. So everything took well over a minute to fail, which makes me wonder how long it will take a successful a successful pull request deployment to work. I don't know. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 minutes. Although that seems excessive for the size of the app that we have. But I don't know. Thank you to everybody who's hanging in there. We'll get it eventually. This will work. Eventually it's going to work. Hallelujah. It worked. Let's commemorate this. I literally don't even know what to do next. We're obviously going to do our testing tomorrow. Like we're going to add URLs to our course policy list, and we will actually test this on different URLs. So, yes. So this is the deployment we wanted. Everything worked. So it was really that we had not turned off the process running on the Angela sudo user, which makes me think that the step where I turned it off or I deleted it and then did the save, I'm wondering if I had to force the save. That's what I'm thinking might have happened, that I had to force the save, that maybe I did PM2 save, but it gave me a warning or it gave me some reason why it couldn't save it. And I didn't really notice it, or I went right past it and it continued to run. That's what I suspect might have happened. So that means the curl health check finally returned successfully, so the PM2 managed app is serving the Instagram endpoint correctly now. The big issue really was that The Angela and deploy users were both managing the same app. Once we removed the Angela PM2 process and saved that empty process list, the restart loop stopped. Then fixing env and env production cleaned up the remaining PM2 configuration mismatch. At this point, I'd consider the GitHub Actions deployment setup operational. The only thing I'd personally do before closing the terminal is one boring verification. If the restart count is stable after this successful deployment, we're done. Okay. Yeah. So we'll clear. Yeah, I think so. It only increased by 1. So 471 is literally the number of times it's been restarted. Yes. In PM2, that 471 value is the process's restart count. How many times PM2 has restarted that app since the process entry was created? In your case, most of those 471 were generated by the restart loop we just fixed, where the app was getting signal int every few seconds, and PM2 immediately brought it back up. The important thing now is not the historical number itself, is that it stays at 471 during normal operation. After future intentional deploys or reloads, you may see it increment occasionally, and that's expected. So yes, 471 really is roughly, this process has been restarted 471 times. The number is ugly, but now that the loop is gone, it's just historical baggage. Okay. Okay. Well, here we are. What do we think? This is a long one. We're coming up on 4 hours, but that's okay. Do me a favor, if you haven't already. Would you be so kind as to like this video, subscribe if you're new here. I'll be here all weekend, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to go back to our regularly scheduled program of building a good old-fashioned vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript landing page. We took this little express detour, because I really wanted to have an Instagram API for my projects. And I'm glad that I did it. I have no regrets. I have no regrets. So tomorrow, here's what we're going to do. We are actually going to test, because here's where we are. We have this middleware and this CORS allow list. And right now, the allow list says that we are only allowed to use this API endpoint on practicelayouts.com. And we need to test it locally, because we are not going to put localhost or 127 on the allow list. That's generally not a best practice. And you will almost never find a backend developer who's going to do that for you. So I'm going to show you how I get around that, so I can do local development without having localhost on the allow list or on the whitelist. And then we will actually test this in a couple different places. So it'll be not only our production URLs, but also our GitHub pages. So we'll test that tomorrow morning. I'm going to try to keep that brief in the morning, and then we'll get into our CSS. Who knows how long it's going to take? Hopefully it just works. So you know what? I guess it takes as long as it takes, right? Yeah, I guess it takes as long as it takes. So there's that. Okay. Everybody, thank you to everybody who came to hang out in the chat and go on this little journey with me today. Thank you, Malik Robinson. Gogo Elmo was our mod in the chat. I think Monique Robinson was also here. She's also a mod in the chat. Thank you to everybody else who was chatting and asking questions. I appreciate it very, very much. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to keep working on our landing page. Bye-bye.